Hi, this is Sean Henricksen here at the Sean Henricksen Law Firm, where we help good people like you avoid the devastating consequences of criminal charges. Today, I'm going to be talking to you about whether or not to let your employer know that you've been arrested. Before I talk about that, I do have a free download. If you click down in the comments section, I've got a document you can download. It's called 4 Things You Should Be Doing Right Now If You've Been Arrested. One question that I get from a lot of clients and potential clients is, should I tell my employer that I've been arrested or that I'm being charged with something? And this isn't really a legal question, but I get it so frequently that it's something that I've thought about a lot and it's something that I want to address. Deciding on whether or not to tell your employer is going to depend on you and your employer. It's not a legal issue. It's something that just is going to affect you and it's going to affect your job. The way that I tell people to think about it is, if you tell your employer, what do you think that your employer is going to do? If you think that if you tell your employer, they're just going to fire you, there's not much reason to tell your employer right now because there's really no benefit to you. On the other hand, if you don't tell your employer, do you think that your employer is ever going to find out? And if they do find out, then how do you think that they're going to handle it? If you think that they're going to find out eventually and they'll fire you if you haven't told them about it, but you think that there's a chance you'll keep your job if you do tell them about it, then maybe that's a situation where you should tell your employer. If you think that they're not going to find out about it, then there's really no point in telling your employer. Or if you think that they are probably going to find out about it, but they'll fire you if you don't tell them, then that may be a situation where you want to tell them also. Ultimately, it's just something for you to think about and for you to try and figure out what your employer is going to do if they find out either from you or from doing a background check on you. Another thing to consider is whether or not your employer does background checks on you periodically. If your employer does do background checks on you periodically, then this could show up on a background check depending on how deep of a background check they do, and ultimately how the case ends up in the end. So these are all things to consider when you're trying to figure out whether or not to tell your employer. If you've been charged with a crime, or if you've got any questions about whether or not you should tell your employer, feel free to give me a call. My phone number is 210-942-4997. You can also click down in the link below and schedule a free consultation. And if you find that this video has been helpful, I'd certainly appreciate it if you liked it. And if you want any more videos like this, then please subscribe to my channel. Have a great day.